Jötnar, god of war. Ragnarok characters. Norse mythology. The Jötnar, singular, Jötunn, commonly known as giants, are the most ancient race emerged from Ginnungagap, native to Jötunheim and Muspelheim, but are also known to inhabit realms such as Midgard. They have long been at war with the Aesir. There are many varieties of Jötnar, including frost and fire giants. They made their first appearance in God of War, 2018. Norse mythology. Jötnar are a type of entity contrasted with gods and other figures, such as dwarves and elves. The entities are themselves ambiguously defined, variously Jörmungandr referred to by several other terms, including eóten, risi, thurs, ogre, and troll. Old Norse Jötunn, also Jötunn, and Old English eóten developed from the Proto-Germanic masculine noun etunaz, which has a connection with the Proto-Germanic etanan, which was reconstructed from the words of Old Norse etol, meaning consuming, Old English etall meaning voracious, gluttonous, and Old High German filu-ezzal meaning greedy. Several terms are used specifically to refer to female entities that fall into this category, including vija, plural viger, and gygr, plural jigjar. Despite being called giants, not all Jötnar were large in size, as many members of the species depicted in their shrines vary between human and giant-sized. Not all were humanoid in shape either, since several Jötnar were depicted with animal heads in the aforementioned shrines, and some had the full shape of animals like the world serpent, the archwolf Jötnar and his sons Skoll and Hati. Frost giants. The progenitor of all species was Ymir, who was the largest Jötunn there ever was. Ymir birthed more of his kind and others through his armpits and feet, who in turn had offspring of their own which marked the beginning of their race. However, the Aesir, also of his creation, desired to have control over all of creation for themselves. Odin, Ve, and Vili slew the primordial giant whose bleeding fluids drowned almost all of his other descendants, the sole survivors being the Jötunn Bergelmir and his wife, Nal. Together, Bergelmir and Nal searched for and found a land where they could be safe and prosperous, a land they called Jötunheim. As father and mother, they reproduced tremendously, and as king and queen, they made sure that the Jötnar would be the only rulers of their new home and themselves. Bergelmir never sought revenge against the Aesir, desiring only for his people to prosper. Because of his actions, the first king of the giants of Jötunheim was forever remembered as Bergelmir the Beloved. The Jötnar were an intelligent and civilized race that practiced architecture, masonry, art, trade, and even prophecy, and some were even famous combatants and hunters. They had their own native spoken language known as the ancient tongue, which was said to be so old that it predates mountains. Most notably, however, the Jötnar possessed the gift of precognition, which allowed them to see visions of the future, something that earned them the eternal jealousy, hatred and paranoia of the king of the Aesir, Odin. This gift even allowed them to see the twilight of the gods and Kratos and Atreus's involvement in it, something which they kept as organized as an army and kept themselves away from the raging Aesir-Vanir war. Despite their neutral status, Odin still sought to eliminate them due what he knew of their role in Ragnarok and thus commissioned the creation of the superweapon Mjolnir, which would become the bane of giant kind. Besides their destruction, Odin also desired to acquire their secret knowledge, prophecies regarding Ragnarok that so obsessed him as he himself did not have their gift of precognition. After the giants assisted Tyr with the construction of his temple, they requested an audience with Odin, one they hoped would reach a peaceful agreement between their races. However, Odin had no desire to make peace and instead used the invitation into Jötunheim as an opportunity to steal some of the knowledge of the future. Entering Jötunheim, Odin and Tyr met with the giants in a grand hall covered in tapestries and triptychs displaying different events. Odin's unexpected proposal of handing over Mjolnir as a peace offering was discovered to be a ruse after a Jötunn present in the hall noticed the one-eyed Aesir memorizing the events displayed on the tapestries and triptychs, while the other giants were busy discussing the unexpected offering and sounded the alarm. The Jötnar then tried to capture Odin, who transformed into a silver hawk and fled the hall and Jötunheim. The Jötnar spared Tyr, on account that they knew his heart was noble and had never intended to help Odin steal their wisdom, but they made him swear to sunder his temple's connection to Jötunheim once left their realm, while announcing their intentions to recall every giant in Midgard back to Jötunheim, so they may live in peace and solitude until the end of days without fear of genocide. Finally recognizing that Odin wouldn't stop until all of the Jötnar were dead, Tyr agreed with sadness in his heart. Enraged at having been forced to flee Jötunheim before he could steal more knowledge, Odin ordered Thor to carry out a genocide of all the Jötnar in Midgard before they could travel back to their home realm. However, with the help of Tyr, they managed to escape back to Jötunheim. He then severed his temple's connection to Jötunheim by destroying the original travel crystal and hiding the corresponding tower in the realm between realms with the Unity Stone, an artifact thus fulfilled the first part of the ancient prophecy the giants had foreseen and finally managed to travel to Jötunheim. They found a large number of deceased Jötnar below the giants' fingers mountain. The exact cause of their deaths and whether or not these were the last of the frost giants in Jötunheim is currently unknown. Stone giants. The stone giants are born without a head or a heart. The frost giants built the stone giants with other stones. The only known stone giant was Hrungnir. Fire giants. The Jötnar have always remained hidden in Muspelheim. Next to nothing is known about their culture, with no notable fire giant ever been seen or heard of besides for their progenitor Surtr. It is prophesied that they shall reveal themselves when Surtr leads the fire giants to destroy Asgard come Ragnarok. Wolf giants. Fenrir and his two sons, Skoll and Hati, are the only known wolf giants, although it is possible for other giants to take the forms of animals such as wolves,